As I began to gather my thoughts to write my experience with abuse, my mind immediately went to the middle of the end. Rather than start at the very beginning, I thought of the most impacting moment in my story, and I was immediately transported to the basement of a little Mexican store on Father's Day. It was a Sunday morning. Regan was with my parents for the weekend. They would take her to church. I was hiding, crouched up against a work table, and I was staring in the darkness, trying to get my focus. I had run through the doors, snatched the phone out of the man's hand who was putting stock away. I was running from Richard. And I saw a door. This man wasn't going to help me. He was screaming at me in Spanish. I was probably a little crazy looking, and he probably thought I was high, but I was in fear of my life. And I ran to the door, and I turned, and as I turned, I saw Richard walking fast past the front doorway, and I just dashed down the stairs. And I found the closest thing that I could to hide it away in, and I'm looking and I'm crouched against this table, and I see the water heater, and I kept staring at the water heater thinking, okay, if I have to, I'm going to get my body stuck behind there so he won't see me should he decide to come in this store. And there was a pipe that was coming off of the water heater, and I thought, okay, if I have to, I'm gonna grab the pipe and I'm going to use it to protect myself. All of this was going through my mind. I had called the police. They were on the phone. They were on their way, and it really was only a matter of about 15 to 20 minutes, but it felt like an eternity in that basement. And the reason why I feel to start with this moment is because this is the first moment in that 2.5-year span of abuse that I really saw clearly for the first time. And I saw myself. It was like I had risen above and was looking down at this young woman, this mother, this young girl who had grown up as a pastor's daughter and a mother who showered me with love. I had sisters I grew up with that were my best friends, and we laughed, and I loved the presence of God. And I had grown up singing in my church. How did I, Amanda Christine Hubbard, end up hiding in this basement? Would I live through this day to raise my daughter? I had no idea. And I began to pray. I'm going to leave that there for a moment. Abuse is no respecter of persons. It affects girls and women of all walks of life, of all nationalities, of all financial status. We have not asked for it. We have not deserved it. Some have never even been a willing participant in the dynamics that placed them with their abuser in the first place. I, however, did make the first step in placing myself into this dangerous man's hands. I met Richard when he came into the nightclub that I was working at as a cocktail waitress. It was late September in 2009, and I was a very long way away from the young girl who enjoyed the simple things in life. I was looking for excitement, and he was a drug dealer. I was very wowed by his persona as he came in with all his friends around him. They've got their money out, and I was impressed by that. The years I had spent living a life of sin had stripped me of my self-worth and any goals that I had once dreamt of. I don't believe any girl starts out this way. I don't think you just decide as a little girl, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to lay it all aside. I'm going to seek a life of emptiness.